Hi everybody and welcome back to our videos about English literature. We are talking about William Blake. We talked about him in our previous video and we talked about his life, his main themes. We analyzed together The Lamp, one of the most popular poems from Songs of Innocence. And I told you we would have talked together in this video about the other popular song or poem which belongs to Songs of Experience this time, which is considered as antithetic, to the Lamb. They're like two sides of the same coin. They start from two completely opposite points of view. They have two opposite perspectives, but if we put them together, we have a sort of a universal vision and perspective and idea of what Blake believed and thought about creation, about the universe, about world, about a dual vision of God, most of all. Talking quickly about the structure of the two poems, we can remember that The Lamb had a very simple structure. It was similar to sort of a children's songs, we could say. Someone says to a church hymn. It was also very typical ballad. In this case, the Tyger is divided into 6 stanzas and they are all made of rhyming couplets. So the sound is also very interesting because it gives the idea of this path, of these questions we are asking. The poet is asking to the Tyger, to this mightful creature of God, this symbol of sublime. Because if you remember, we said that the lamb was the symbol of beautiful, so this very reassuring, kind, tender and very peaceful idea of beauty, while on the other side this tiger, our tiger, is frightful. It is absolutely huge and strong and dangerous, but it is always very fascinating. And the main theme in this poem is basically a never-ending question. Is the same God who created the lamb also able to create the tiger? So could the same creator give life to opposite creatures like those? Blake doesn't answer, but we can find an answer anyway. So let's start reading the Tyger together. And let's think also about this incredible sound, which is absolutely elegant and enchanting somehow. It's really enchanting and mesmerizing while he goes on and pushing with these questions, but at the same time he does it, in a sort of a very balanced and very elegant way. So, first of all, Blake starts addressing directly to the tiger. Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what mortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? You can hear these rhymes are beautiful. So he addressed directly. It's a sort of a facing directly the tiger. Burning bright in the forests of the night. So the word bright is used again here. We talked about the word bright while talking about the clothing, of our lamb. But bright in that case was used in another way. It was it was used to explain, to give the idea of something full of light, of something reassuring. In this case, burning bright in the forests of the night, it's like a fire. It is dangerous. It's like a threat. What immortal hand or eye could frame, could somehow shape Okay, thy fearful symmetry, and with this word thy, which means yours, fearful symmetry, we have another reference to Latin, okay? Symmetry, why symmetry? Symmetry because in the history of art in general, the idea of symmetry was the idea of perfection. So our Tyger may be dangerous, may be fearful, but it is absolutely perfect, okay, in its dangerous and fearful nature. This is why God made it, okay, in such a very detailed and perfect way. Then we go on. In what distant deeps or skies burnt the fire of thine eyes? On what wings dare he aspire, while the hand there sighs the fire? Again, this sound which is very, very beautiful. In what distant deeps or skies burn the fire of thine eyes? So thine eyes, your eyes again, burnt. So basically they received life, okay, for the first time. Where? Somewhere distant, okay, because the Tyger is so huge and incredibly mighty, okay, compared to the human being, okay, so it's a distant place. It doesn't matter whether it is in the sky, in heaven, where you usually find God, or deep down in the earth, where we usually find the devil. So this is a vision of God, which isn't very Christian actually. It's more romantic than Christian here, because it doesn't really matter. There is no judgment here. It doesn't matter whether it is upside, where it is above, okay, or it is down, okay, in the depth of the earth. It doesn't really matter. What matters is the question, on what wings dare he aspire? That he, which doesn't have a capital letter, is referred to God. So he aspired to something, okay? He wanted to reach some kind of a highness creating you, okay? What the end there says the fire. So which kind of a hand, which kind of a creator can dare, okay, can push himself to his limit, maybe over, okay, to size, okay, to shape the fire. We know that the fire belongs to gods. We know that a human being like Prometheus was punished because he tried to steal the holy fire from gods. God has the power to use his fire, but he dares, in this case, okay, he dares to create something so incredible for himself. And what shoulder and what art could twist the sinews of thy heart? And when thy heart began to beat, what dread hand, what dread feet? Okay, so what shoulder, what art, so what arms, what ability could twist, okay, the sinews of your heart, so the tendons of your heart, the heart, which is the organ that makes you alive, basically. What kind of a hand of a creature could be so strong, could dare, okay, to shape your heart, that organ that would have given life to you forever. And when thy heart began to beat, okay, and so when you actually could be alive, what dread hand and what dread feet? So this is dread, which means terrible, okay, which means dreadful. What the hammer, what the chain, in what furnace was the brain, what the anvil, what the dread grasp, there its deadly terrors clasp, okay? These questions are always asking the same things, okay? They're just emphasizing it. They're emphasizing the power of this creature. They're emphasizing the dangers and the mighty nature of the tiger. Even God, who created it, should probably be afraid of it, okay? And when he says, okay, in what furnace was the brain? So the brain of God who created you, the tiger, was like a furnace, okay? So something full of fire. What comes out of a furnace is often a weapon. But the aim, what dead grasp, dead its deadly terror clasps. So just an incredibly powerful grasp, hold, a firm hold, could basically dare, okay, could dare to take hold of such a creature. It's like a challenge for God himself, basically. And then we have the most important stanza, because in this stanza we can find the meaning of this poem, and we can also give some more meaning to the lamb too. He says, when the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears, did he smile his work to see? Did he who made the lamb make thee? And here we are. So, stars above are throwing their spears. Attention, stars here have a completely different meaning from the stars in Wordsworth. Do you remember we talked about Wordsworth and I Wonder Lonely as a Cloud of Daffodils? We said there were two different levels of daffodils on the earth and stars above, and they could mirror each other, and stars had a very positive, bright meaning, okay? In this case, stars are only throwing their spears, and together with their spears, their tears. So stars are crying. Okay, they're crying, and when he is again God, and it hasn't got a capital letter again. Do you remember that the lamb had a capital letter in the other work, because it was referred to Christ? In this case, it doesn't, because it doesn't have this exception. We're talking about this dual vision of God. Did he smile when he saw you? Was he satisfied? Was it really what he wanted to do? Could he maybe regret it? Or he was happy? He felt himself more powerful after creating you. And the basic question, did he no capital letter again, who made the lamb capital letter again, because it's Christ, okay, it's innocence, it's a higher ideal. Did he who made the lamb make thee? Okay, could the same God, the same creator, create two such different creatures, to different sides of the world? Yes. Yes, it can. It doesn't answer to this question, but in his perspective, in his dual vision of God, in his dual vision of reality, in his dual vision of the world, okay, everything belongs together. Do you remember? I, okay, and you, the lamb, okay. There are dualisms, but they get together, and they are all part of the organic living all, which is nature, with no judgment, okay? Because beautiful and sublime belong together, because good and evil belong together, because God created all sides of nature, all sides of the universe, okay? Of the human being too. And so the final stanza, which is just a repetition of the first one, sort of a cyclic poem, okay, that starts from the same, or better, that ends, okay, the same place where it starts, because these questions, okay, we can give now an easy interpretation as I did, but these questions are existential questions and they are cyclic. We have no sure certain answer to them, and so we have the final stanza, which is exactly the same as the first one. So Tyger, Tyger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal ant or I dare frame thy fearful symmetry. And we end with this cyclic idea of the poem and with the word symmetry, which symbolized also perfection, as we said before. Now, this dual vision of God doesn't have only an existential meaning, okay? This dual vision of creation, because God can create nature, human beings, but also human beings can create something. They create society, they create cities, they create their world, they create the Industrial Revolution in his case. And so some other songs, some other poems, okay, from Songs of Experience talk about this most social aspect, okay? Like, for example, London. I mentioned it before quite a few times because it's very important actually. Let's imagine that London had at the time 700,000 inhabitants, which were a lot, okay, for the time. Urbanization was completely uncontrolled, and around the city there were these slums, okay, where people lived in bad hygienical conditions, health conditions. They were poor, and that was a really horrible situation. And this is the London he talks about in his work, in his poem. He talks about a city which is chartered, okay, it's sold, it's hired, okay. The streets are chartered. The Thames, the river Thames is chartered, which is very bad because the river is something that belongs to nature, okay, and we know that Romantic poets had this sort of a sacred idea of nature, so it was very, very negative, okay, that even the river Thames was chartered, was sold, was hired, okay. The city was compared to a prostitute, and people were crying, not only infants, also adult people, okay, men, women, they were crying, and their voices remember, okay, remind the poet of those mind-forged manacles, okay, they have the same sound of those manacles forged, okay, created by the mind of the human being, because it is the human being which created Industrial Revolution, who created this kind of society, who created progress and everything else, okay. And everything is getting darker and darker. Even the church was white, was a symbol of spirituality, of God, spirituality in general, and it's blackening, okay, by pollution, obviously, okay, because we are also talking about the environment, okay. Romantic poets were very careful to the idea of the environment, but it has also a metaphorical meaning, obviously, because the church is polluted, essentially, okay, it's corrupted. And another creature, okay, that is polluted, exploited, and absolutely corrupted is the chimney sweeper. We have this poem called The Chimney Sweeper, who talks about this child, okay, and this child who is also blackened, okay, is dark, okay, made black because of his work, obviously, but the idea that he is exploited by this society, okay, and his pure side, okay, his innocence, the lamb inside this child is now completely black because of corruption, because of exploitation, because of this new society. So this was basically these were basically the main themes, the key concepts of William Blake's poetry. There is so much to say actually, but I hope that what I have told you today and in my previous video was interesting for you. If you have any questions, if you have any doubts, if you want me to talk about anything else or to analyze other works for you, I'm just here for you. Just please subscribe my channel and we will meet again very soon talking again about romantic writers. So thank you very much and see you very, very soon. Goodbye.